Hammurabi is a stranger to most Americans, but he shouldn't be. This ancient historical figure can be found on the south wall of the U.S. Supreme Court and in a marble portrait over the gallery doors of the U.S. House of Representatives in the United States Capitol. This ancient ruler was one of the first to establish rights and responsibilities of a community, and his influence is still felt today throughout the United States and beyond.
Modern law is partially based on the Magna Carta in England, which was signed in 1215, and that's partially based on Roman law, and that's what English law today is based on. So ultimately, our modern laws partially go back at least as far as Rome. But in some ways, elements go back to Hammurabi and before.
But without doubt, the fact that we are sitting here today, even in the context of a school project talking about Hammurabi's Code, demonstrates the powerful pull on the imagination that a well-constructed, for its time, set of laws can hold for us.
More than 4,000 years ago, Hammurabi was the sixth king of Babylon. For 40 years, he built up Babylon by isolating his opponents and then conquering them. Eventually, Hammurabi controlled a massive area that linked the Mediterranean Sea with the Persian Gulf. Because there are many different tribes under his command, there are different rules for each of these tribes. Hammurabi's goal was to form a unified set of laws for everyone in Babylon. People needed to know what was right and what was wrong. Because of this, Hammurabi created one of the first documents known to man, titled Hammurabi's Code. For the first time, the law of the land was displayed in the community for all to see. No longer was the law of the land exposed to the temperamental moods of the day, because they were now etched in stone. Hammurabi's Code was carved in steles. These are 2-meter-tall pieces of rock in the shape of an index finger. The steles were placed in the center of communities throughout Babylon, but only one is intact. It currently sits in the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. This code gave rights and responsibilities to some in Babylon while taking away the rights and responsibilities of others.
You have your responsibilities to your neighbors, to your parents, to your grandchildren, to your sons and daughters, to your slaves. You have a responsibility towards them. But you also have a right to treat slaves in a certain manner. You have a right to treat your wife in a certain manner. You have a right to treat your sons in a certain manner and give your sons more money than you would give to another. You have this right. And our perception of rights has changed considerably since Hammurabi. But they were trying to establish a system of rights and responsibilities just like we do today.
The current debate about employers paying their employees a living wage goes all the way back to ancient times in Hammurabi. His code states that a builder will be paid at least 2 shekels per house, and a field worker will earn 8 gur per year, which equals 96 shekels. This clearly states the responsibilities of an employer and the rights of an employee, ideas we still debate on today.
Adjusted for inflation, the 1968 minimum wage was at $10.60 an hour in 2013 dollars, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index. The minimum wage today is only $7.25.
It would be foolish to think that Hammurabi's code is filled with nothing but rainbows and roses. It includes barbaric punishments. For example, Law 195 states that if a son strike his father, his hand shall be cut off. However, it is among the first documents to put forth the concept of innocent until proven guilty, a bedrock value of our judicial system. For example, Law number 3 states that if anyone brings an accusation of any crime before the elder and does not prove what he has charged, he shall, if it be a capital offense charged, be put to death. For the first time, the burden of proof is placed on the accuser. This clearly states the rights and responsibilities of the accused and the accuser. The code also includes protections for the weak and poor. In fact, in the epilogue, it states, Hammurabi, the protecting King I Am, that the strong might not injure the weak. In order to protect the widows and orphans, I set up these precious words.
Because it is such an important piece of history and a very early piece of judicial history, legal history, they're put in there as the beginning of a process. They're trying to show that a sense of laws and laws to govern a complex culture go back all the way to antiquity. And this isn't something we just invented because we live in America and we're a democracy. It's not something that we've invented all of a sudden 200 years ago in the 1700s. It's something that goes back throughout human history, and it's got a long foundation.
Did Hammurabi's code give rights? Did it take rights? It really depends on your perspective. If you're a slave or a woman, it definitely took rights. But if you're a successful farmer, it probably gave rights. While it didn't allow equal rights for slaves and women, it did protect the weak. An example is Law 148, which clearly states if a man has married a wife and a disease has seized her, if he is determined to marry a second wife, he shall marry her. He shall not divorce the wife whom the disease has seized. She shall dwell in the house they have built together, and he shall maintain her as long as she lives. Our political leaders honor Hammurabi in our nation's capital and the U.S. Supreme Court because the code's ideals connect to America's constitutional ideals. Laws today are not created on a whim, and they are written down for all to see. Before the U.S. Constitution, there were the Articles of Confederation. Before that, there was the Magna Carta, the 12 Tables of the Roman Law, and the Athenian democracy. Our Constitution was built on these well-known ancient ideals. But what many don't know is that those ideals of rights and responsibilities were built on the foundation of Hammurabi's Code. These rights and responsibilities, who some take for granted today, have deep roots in our ancient past. That's why Hammurabi can be found in the U.S. Supreme Court and our nation's capital.